Hi, Leon. I'm so happy to
Hi,
meet you here today.
hi, Sonja. It's so lovely to get together for our little venture.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've sort of thrown in the questions before actually going into anything further, because the
Mm,
story is actually about three women that are of similar age who have completely different walks in life, yet they
mm,
are best friends.
mm,
And what I really struck with on this is that no matter what happened, their friendship stayed intact and they were questioning each other. And I loved the fact that there was this questioning and non-belief, and this is all weird and so on. So
mm,
I loved that interaction with those three girls. But in this first episode, the story actually begins with Sevgi, and the story begins with the part that is later comes to play in what we call the constellation. It's not called the constellation in the series.
mm,
So I like to call it Family Constellation because that's what you and we are
mm,
facilitators for Family Constellation. And
mm,
it doesn't matter what it is called, we can clearly see that this is a family constellation movement when he
mm.
actually does the movement eventually, when we actually get to see the movement. So,
So
anything
yes,
you
and
want to add?
yeah, yes, I think Family Constellations is where it all started in the modern age. Prior to that, it was probably called something else, Family of Origin. In this series, we will get to what it's called, but I think in broad strokes we can call it systemic work. It's the interconnectivity of all parts at all time, and that's the curiosity, and that for me uh, makes our work very exciting. That the interconnectivity of things. That if the old saying a couple of years ago, if the butterfly flaps its wings in the east, it could create a storm in the Pacific. So really that we get to this ecological intelligence to understand how things are interconnected. And then, as far as the series is concerned, Sergei then discovers she has a certain condition, and the others forms a beautiful support structure around her. And as you say, they remain loyal, no matter how their egoic beliefs and belief systems differ with each other. They bound themselves around a certain loyalty that is really beautiful how it develops throughout the series. But it's not as if they can remain on the outside of the evolving events, because they get sucked into this mystery of resolving problems in a different way. And each one of them developed a story as well.
The word interconnectivity, I think that is something we are not always aware of, how everything is connected. Um, and I'll go back to when I did my trauma. One of my trauma thesis was actually doing the sins of the fathers. How does it actually go forward? And I called it, for me, it was about the trauma. And I had an understanding that if one member in the family has trauma, everybody else has secondary and subsequent trauma as well. So everybody is connected to that, although people don't really see it that way. Everybody is so focused on this is my pain within that, but it's not how are we connected to each other. And I think that is something we in the way we live is I need to be myself, I need to focus on myself, I need to do this by myself. And what you called the word egoic, it is a survival structure that we are in. But how can we survive when we just are an island by ourselves and we couldn't, even if we tried to be an island by ourselves, we are connected. And actually to understand how we are connected into our family system is, for some people, very new, especially when you have so many family systems falling apart and you have so many people saying, I don't want to be part of my family system for one reason or another.
Exactly. And so the series starts in a beautiful way, very dramatic, very painful, opening scenes with Segi playing on the merry-go-round, approaching her father, and there is the opening scene that gives away what will follow in the form of a pomegranate. Father offers her the pomegranate. Beautiful metaphor of what you just spoke, that in that little one seed, there's an interconnectivity to all the seeds in the pomegranate, and a rich symbolism of life that is held within that symbol.
Yes, he actually gave the symbol Dr. Mr. Zaman actually gave is that the pomegranate is a symbol for fortune as well as life after death.
Yes, very interesting. And as far as my memory is concerned, in Kabbalah, it's also used, pomegranate specifically, it's also used for all the teachings in Kabbalah. So apparently there are, let's say, 500 or 700 different teachings, which represents the little grains of the pomegranate. But it's never isolated because all the teachings, all the learning form one whole, which is also an adjacent richness to understand.
Yeah, so I think the symbol of the pomegranate is within one's life, there are other lives as well. And that's, we're talking about the interconnectivity. We couldn't be an island by ourselves because whatever happens in me happens around me, whether I am living by myself or whether I'm living within a family structure. There is no way we can go through this life without connecting with other people